Hey guys, welcome to this Word tutorial. So by now you should have completed your course, done your mock, checked with model answers and or with the supervisors, made sure you're happy with everything, and now you're ready to move on to the next step, which will be the Word exam. So with that in mind, we're just going to go over a few topics just to draw your attention to them because they might come up in the exam. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to have a look at a few of these revision topics. Okay, so I'm going to open up a document that I looked at earlier, and we're going to talk to you about some paragraph options, some section break options, tables and tabs. So we're going to start with paragraphs. So if I want to change the way a paragraph, a piece of text looks, my options will be in this section here. There's various things I can do, so let's look at a few. First thing you can do is you can change the orientation. So you can change where your text fits within the document. You can then change the spacing, so you can change how much of a space, how much of a gap there is between the sections of the paragraphs of text. Yeah, you can also change the line spacing, so how big the gaps in between these passages of text are. The other thing you can do is you can bring your text more into the middle of the document. So you can indent, you can bring text in to the document. Yeah, and you can do that by using either the button here or the options in here. Now, next topic to cover is section breaks. So why don't we go to here, Act 2. So the idea to remember in Word is anything I want to change, I need to select or I need to position my cursor in the right place. Otherwise, the program won't know what I'm trying to make these changes to. So I'm going to position my cursor before Act 2. I'm going to go to my page layout. And under breaks, I have a next page section break option. So the idea of this next page section break is that I moved some text onto a new page. But what I've also done is I've created two sections. So I'm going to show you what I mean by double clicking here in the white space so that I can access my header and footer section. Now you could do that by going into Insert, Header or Footer or Page Number, and the same sort of dialog box, the same setting would come up. In this, you can now see that there's two sections. So what I've done is I've separated the document into two parts. So I can do some things to a part without affecting the other. So for example, if I want to put in a header, I want to have some sort of a title at the top of these two pages. Yeah. What I need to do is I need to make sure I deselect this button. So I click on Link to Previous. It's not highlighted. That means my two sections have now been separated, have been split. So I can make changes to one without the other. And I'm going to position my cursor on my first page. So that's where I want my header to go. And I'm going to go here to header and I'm going to pop a header in. Something gonna really stand out. So let's pick you. So we have a couple of headers on some pages, but not on the others. The other thing section break allows us to do is it allows us to change orientation. So for instance, we've looked at how I center horizontally the text, but I can also center the text vertically. And to do that, we can go into our page layout and through our page setup dialog box. In the page setup dialog box, we have layout, vertical alignment, center. And if I do that, what it does is it moves my text into the middle of the page. So I can move my text into the middle of the page so that the left and the right spaces are the same, or I can move my text into the middle of the page so that my top and my bottom spaces are the same. Also then next topic we're going to look at is tables. So we have a table here, okay? Once you click on a table, that's another thing with Word. If you want something done to a particular part of Word or a particular element of Word, like a picture or a table or some sort of a drawing, you need to click into that so that you get the options for that particular section. So in our case, what we have is we have table tools. We have design and we have layout. So everything I want to do to this table, I can do through either my design or my layout bars, menus. So what I want to do is, if I'm looking at my table, I notice there's a title here at the top of the first page, but that title doesn't show up on the second pages. So it'd be nice if I could see that so that I know what my table is all about. So with my cursor in that first line, my heading, if you will, my header, I'm going to go to my repeat header or buttons here. And what this guy does is it allows me to see that first line of text, that heading, the title onto my table page or pages. Now, the last thing we want to have a look at is we want to have a look at tabs. So with tabs, I'm going to go back to the beginning of my document here, and I'm just going to make some space. So I'm going to put in a section. The section, let's call it ticket prices, yeah? I've made some space there for me. And I'm going to type some ticket prices. Now, I would like the name of my show here, and I would like price to come up in this kind of section. So I would need 2 pieces of text on the one line. So I do that by using tabs. With tabs, there's 3 steps to remember. First is I'm going to go and pick the tab or choose the tab I want. From here, I'm going to put it on the ruler in the space or in the place I want, and then I'm going to type my text in. So I'm going to choose a left tab. With my left tab selected, I'm going to pop it on the ruler at 13. So I'm going to just click into the ruler so that this little tab marker that looks the same as this guy here has now appeared on my ruler. I'm going to type some text. Okay, I've typed my first piece of text, but how do I get my cursor to go to that 13 place where I've set my tabs? I do that by using the tab button on the keyboard. It's above your caps lock key, and it looks like 2 arrows. So if you hit that once, your cursor is going to jump to where you've placed that little mark, that little tab. So let's do 5. Okay, so I have some text, some prices, but it doesn't look quite the way I want it to, so I can change it. How to change? I'm going to select the tabs, or I'm going to select the text I just typed in, and I'm going to go to my paragraph dialog box and my tabs here. From here, I'm going to edit it. I think 13 is still too in. Let me put it closer to the right margin. So how about I say 15? So I'm going to clear the one that's there. So we talk about this tab stop section here and not in here. We don't go anywhere near those guys. We leave them the way they're set. In this section, let me clear. So nothing shows up there. I'm going to type in 15 instead. I then decide I want to align it to the right instead of the left, which is what it was. And I also think some dots might look quite nice. So I'm going to now set it. Make sure you press set before you press OK. So I'm going to set and OK. And that's changed my tabs. So they look different to the way they did before. So that's all I really wanted to share with you today. Just a couple of things there just to see how some of the features in Word work. Keep an eye on those. They'll come up in the exam. Hopefully this was helpful. And like I said, if you have any questions after you watch this, just let one of the supervisors know and we can go through that with you. Thank you for your time and good luck with your exam.